Hey guys, welcome back to r/maliciouscompliance. Imagine walking into work one day and finding out your new boss has decided to fix a system that is not even broken by bottlenecking every project on her desk and lying to the higher-ups about your team. She wanted full visibility, total control, and all the credit for the work I did. And the first one is titled r/maliciouscompliance. Smug new Karen boss makes me obey her stupid orders. So this happened in a small city in the Philippines where I work for a local government office that handles permits. Think building permits, business permits, occupancy permits, and other clearance endorsements, all that fun bureaucratic stuff everyone hates lining up for. I've been there long enough that some people joke I came with the furniture. Before anyone asks, yeah, government job, but no, I'm not rich, it's not that kind of office. It's a stable job and I actually like that what we do affects real people. When we work fast and fair, projects start on time, sari stores open, contractors don't lose money on delays. When we are lazy, everything jams up and citizens get angry, understandably. Our old boss understood that too. Let's call him old boss. Our old boss was that rare type of government manager who actually trusted his staff. Our system was not fancy, but it worked. Rough idea of how it used to be, we had an internal checklist for each type of permit. If it was a simple case like a renewal, minor renovation, or business with no red flags, whoever handled it would process it end to end. We only escalated weird or borderline cases to old boss for final sign-off or clarification. We could approve a clean, complete business permit in 1 to 2 days, sometimes same day if the client was quick with documents. For building permits, as long as the plans were compliant and the engineer's documents were legit, it was smooth. We were not perfect, but the numbers spoke for themselves. Our turnaround time was fast, backlog was tiny, and we barely had walk-in complainants. Old boss constantly told us, "You guys know your job better than I do. I just sign." It wasn't even laziness on his part, he was always there for tricky cases, but he trusted us with the rest. He knew that the actual work happens with the rank and file, and then he got promoted. He moved to a higher office in City Hall, and all of us were genuinely happy for him. We were sad though, but you don't block someone's blessing like that. He gave me a pat on the shoulder before he left and said something like, "You're one of the people I don't worry about here. Just keep doing the right thing." I should have known that was foreshadowing. After a few weeks of officer in charge limbo, we finally got our new department head. She walked in like we were contestants and she was the talent show judge. Designer bag, very loud heels, and that corporate aura like she came straight from a BPO management seminar. I will just call her Karen. In her first staff meeting she told us that she came from the private sector, handling big corporate accounts and turning around broken teams. There was this tone like everything in government was automatically stupid and she was here to rescue us. She had only been in the room for maybe 20 minutes before she announced that she had already reviewed our processes and that we were doing it all wrong. She literally hadn't even yet seen how any of us actually worked. She just read the procedure manual and some stats that HR probably emailed her. The rest of us sat there like, "Okay, sure ma'am, tell us more about our jobs that you've never done." She pulled out a printout of our old process, printed from some flowchart old boss made. She started circling things with a red pen like our system was a failing exam paper. Her main points were the following: too much autonomy at the staff level, not enough managerial oversight, this looks chaotic from a control perspective. She hadn't even finished her first week and already decided we were chaotic. The ironic part, the metrics from before she came were on the same paper. Approvals were high, complaints were low, processing time short, but she waved that away and said those numbers were not reliable, because there's no formal quality control. Her brilliant solution: from now on all permit applications must go through her for quality review before anything else is approved. Not just big projects, not just complicated ones, all of them, everything. Every single business clearance endorsement, every sari store renewal, which I think is like a little grocery store in the Philippines, every fencing permit, every application that used to be processed in half a day. We stared at her. One of my coworkers tried to explain how that would slow everything down. He was not confrontational, just calmly said that we might create a backlog and people would complain. Karen smiled that tight-lipped fake smile and said something like, "If the process cannot survive quality control, then the process is broken, and I'm fixing it." That was the start of everything. I'm not claiming to be a genius, but I've been doing this job for long enough. I know which applications are just rubber stamp as long as the paperwork is complete, and which ones need actual judgment or escalation. Our old rule was simple: if it meets the checklist and there are no obvious red flags, just approve it and log it. If something looks off, ask more questions or send it to the boss. Karen's new rule: no approvals until she personally checked each file, so now every frontliner had to receive documents, check them, encode them, and then put the file on her desk and wait for her to review it. Well, you can probably guess what happened. Her desk turned into a paperwork mountain. At first she tried to keep up. For like a week, she stayed late a few nights, ticking and signing and bragging loudly about it. We all heard her because she made sure to say things like, "This is what real accountability looks like," loud enough for the whole office to hear. Give it another week and she started slipping. She would attend some internal leadership workshop and then a coordination meeting and then disappear for field inspection. We later found out she just liked doing rounds in other offices to show her face. Meanwhile, her in-tray was overflowing. People were asking us why their permits weren't done yet, and before we would say, "Come back in 2 days." But now we were saying, "Come back next week or maybe the week after." We kept telling applicants, "Sorry sir, new policy, all approvals now have to go through the department head." We were polite, we always said it with a smile, but everyone could tell where the blockage was. Inside the office, we tried to raise it. I went to her room one afternoon and said that we were starting to get a backlog. I brought printouts of our processing time from before versus after. Her response: "I'm here to fix long-term issues, not chase daily numbers. You all need to adjust, no more shortcuts." I reminded her that many of these shortcuts were literally just us following the checklist. She said if it's really that simple, then there's no problem with her reviewing. Then she hit me with, "Also, I want all external communication to go through me. Any complaints, any follow-ups, UCC me or route it to me. I want full visibility." That line will be important later. A few weeks in, we had a coordination meeting with higher-ups. The usual: department heads, the city administrator, sometimes the mayor would poke his head in if he was around. Karen strutted into that meeting with slides. Yeah, slides. She presented a process improvement proposal, which from what I could see through the glass, was literally our existing system with a new layer of manager review on top. She colored the arrows in PowerPoint and suddenly she was a consultant. After the meeting, she came out smiling. Later, one of the higher-ups from another office passed by my desk and said, she said she fixed your backlog issues from before." I just nodded because I was so confused. Backlog from before? We never had a serious backlog before her. Now we were drowning. Then it clicked. She was spinning it like she came in and saved a broken department, but meanwhile, right outside her office, stacks of unreviewed applications were literally living their best lives on her desk. And then of course complaints started rolling in. Applicants walked in angry, contractors were calling. Owners of small businesses asking why their renewals were still pending when they already paid all their fees. Some of them were regular clients who knew how it used to be. We told them the truth. Ma'am/sir, under the new policy, all approvals must go through the new department head. We've already checked your documents, it's just waiting for her signature. Some people were understanding, but some were not. One guy actually said, why is he changing it if it was working before?" I just smiled at that smile government workers develop and repeated the official line, and then I remembered what she said. "Any complaints, any follow-ups, UCC me or route it to me. I want full visibility." "Okay, ma'am, you want visibility? You will get visibility." First step, I stopped trying to protect her from the truth. Before, with the old boss, we would buffer complaints a bit, like if someone was mad, we would calmly explain and maybe offer to check their file again, help them complete missing docs, that kind of thing, and only to escalate to him if it was really needed. With Karen, I did exactly what she asked. An applicant would email me angry about delays, saying, "Sir, it's been 3 weeks, we were told processing is only a few days." I would reply something like, "Good day, sir." As per new directive from our department head, all approvals must go through her for quality review. Your application was already encoded and complete as of this date and is currently pending at the management level. I'm CCing our department head so she can directly assist you regarding the status. Thank you. CC Karen, CC her boss, the city administrator, and sometimes even BCC myself on my personal email just to have receipts. If someone called and complained, I would politely ask them, "Sir, madam, can you write that in an email? Also, so we can properly document it, please include our department head in CC. She requested full visibility for all client feedback." I didn't fake anything. I didn't exaggerate. I didn't tell them to be angry. I just made sure the feedback went to the inbox of the exact person who said she wanted full visibility. Within a week, she was already annoyed. She started forwarding those emails to us with short comments like, "What is this?" or "Why is this delayed?" Like she was not the bottleneck. We responded with timestamped facts like date received, date encoded, date completed by staff, date routed to her desk, and then awaiting your review and approval, all documented, all in a neutral tone, no sarcasm, just data. Her boss, the city administrator, is an old school guy, by the way. He does not like drama, but he pays attention when the word complaint appears repeatedly in subject lines. So when he sees a chain like RE urgent, delay in business permit for company name, and he scrolls down and sees we completed everything weeks ago and it's just pending on Karen's desk, who do you think he is side-eyeing? Every email like that was one more thread in the rope she was weaving around her own neck. Karen didn't like how she was looking in those email chains, so she tried another tactic. She started saying in internal meetings, with her boss present of course, that the problem was just staff discipline. According to her, we were not following the new process consistently, and some files were getting stuck at the staff level because we were used to the old system and resisting change. She talked about culture change and how this kind of resistance is normal when you bring in accountability. You could tell she read some corporate blog about change management and was just regurgitating it. Her boss asked if she had any concrete examples, and she said she would compile some cases. None appeared though. Meanwhile, every concrete example we had showed the opposite. Files stopped moving when they reached her. You know that thing where someone keeps saying a lie so confidently that if you're not paying attention, you might believe it? Well, she tried that. The problem was that we had numbers, and she kept insisting on emailing everything, which left a trail. Now for the fun part, our city has a few VIP figures, you know the type, big developers who donate to campaigns, sponsor events, plaster their names on tarpaulins every fiesta, that sort of thing. Well, one of those developers had a project that was kind of high profile, a mid-size commercial building along a main road. Nothing huge, but it involved jobs and had been mentioned in city council meetings. We had worked with this developer before. He was not a saint, but he was decent enough to the staff, and crucially, he followed the damn checklist. He usually hired competent engineers, paid the right fees, and didn't try to bully us. Under the old system, as long as his documents were complete, we would process his stuff fast because we knew delays on our side meant penalties for him with his contractors. So one day his engineer walks in with a fresh building permit application for a time-sensitive phase of the project. They needed this permit cleared quickly because their contract had milestones and liquidated damages if they missed certain dates. We checked the documents, complete, stamps from other required officers already there, structural plans checked, everything neat. Under the old boss, I would have cleared that within hours or at worst the next day. We knew this developer and we knew his track record and we knew the project was already endorsed, the paperwork was clean. But under this new Karen, you already know. So we did our part. We received the documents, logged them, checked everything, all good. Then we placed the file on her desk with a sticky note saying, "Complete, ready for your review and approval." And then nothing. A day passed, then 2, then 3. We followed up, politely knocked on her door saying, "Ma'am, urgent application for project name. They have a time-sensitive schedule." She said she would get to it after she finished the higher priority matters, whatever that meant. Those higher priority matters seem to include random long meetings, strategy sessions, and one leadership seminar out of the office. The rumor was that seminar was at a fancy hotel with a really nice spa package, but that is just what we heard from another department. I don't have proof. Either way, she was not in the office and her desk was still piled high. The developer's engineer emailed me, politely first and with more urgency. They needed the permit to avoid contract penalties. I responded politely and honestly saying, "Hi sir, documents were completed on our side as of this date, and per new policy all approvals must go through our department head personally. Your application is currently pending approval at management level. Our department head is currently out on official business and is expected back next week. I'm CCing her and the city administrator for visibility." Again, no real drama, no lies, just facts, and her words used per new policy, personally, and full visibility. Apparently, the developer himself got CC'd in one of the chains or was shown the email by his engineer. He didn't take it well. I found out later that he called the mayor directly, not just some secretary, the mayor. The city administrator came marching in with a face that said, "Who messed with my day?" His assistant looked stressed. The mayor was not there in person, but apparently he was on the phone with someone the whole time. I could only assume it was the developer or someone connected to him. The city administrator asked in a way that was still calm but cold, "Where's your department head?" We told him she was at a leadership seminar scheduled to be back next week. He looked at her empty office, looked at the piles on her desk, then looked at us and said, "Bring me the file for project name. Right now." We handed it to him, complete, stamped, and on top, the sticky note in my handwriting saying, "Complete, ready for your review and approval from days ago." He didn't shout, he just sighed in that disappointed father way that's honestly worse than shouting. "Since when has this been ready?" he asked. We told him the exact date. It had been sitting there long enough to already cause a delay on the developer's side. He just said, "Okay, thank you," took the file, and walked out. I found out later that he went straight to the mayor's office with it, and the next day, Karen magically appeared early, full makeup, perfectly pressed clothes, and that fake smile cranked up to level 100. She called an emergency department meeting. We all gathered in the small conference area. She had that defensive energy on her face, but was trying hard to look in control. She started with some speech about team alignment and challenges during transitions. You know, that corporate buzzword salad that sounds like it came from some leadership book, but then she got to the point. She said there had been issues with the project name permit and implied that some staff were not following the new process, causing delays that made the department look bad to the mayor and to investors. She never said my name, but she kept looking at me. She claimed someone had sent emails without proper coordination and that this made her look like she was not doing her job. She said, "If you have concerns, bring them to me. Don't make me look bad to higher-ups by escalating every small hiccup." I almost laughed at this small hiccup part. That hiccup was a millionaire developer calling the mayor, but whatever, I just sat there, calm. A few others looked uncomfortable, but stayed quiet. Then the city administrator walked in, no knock, no announcement, just entered, pulled a chair and sat down at the head of the table. The change in the room's energy was instant. He asked Karen to explain the situation with the permit, very neutral tone. She launched into a story that, if you didn't know better, might have been convincing. According to her, the file was still under evaluation by staff when the complaint reached the mayor. We were rushing and trying to bypass new quality control by pressuring her to sign without proper review. Emails were supposedly worded in a way that put all blame on management instead of the process, and I just sat there thinking, wow, she really rehearsed this. When she was done, the city administrator turned to me and said, "OP, from your side?" I'd come prepared without even realizing I was prepared. So, because of her obsession with emails and documentation, I literally had the whole timeline in my inbox. I told him calmly what I remembered. The date the application arrived, the date we logged and checked it, that it met all requirements under the same checklist we had been using for years, the date we placed it on her desk, the follow-up emails from the developer's engineer, and the exact wording I used when I replied, which included, per new policy from our department head, all approvals must go through her personally. I did not comment on her behavior, it was just facts. He asked, "Do you have those emails?" And I said yes. He asked me to print them, bring them to his office right after the meeting. Karen started to interrupt, saying something like, "I think this is being blown out of proportion. These staff have been resistant to..." He cut her off, very calm but firm. "We will look at the numbers first." He then said he would also ask for our department's metrics for the past months before she arrived and the months after up to now. You could almost see her confidence leak out of her face. Later that day, we heard that there was another meeting upstairs. This time just Karen, the city administrator, and someone from HR. I was not there in person, obviously, but I know at least this much from what I later saw and what a friend from another office confirmed. On top of that, the email where I wrote, "As per new policy from our department head, all approvals must go through her personally. Your application is currently pending approval at management level. Our department head is currently out on official business," was shown, word for word. Remember, she is the one who said she wants all communication CC'd to me and full visibility. She's the one who insisted on personal review of every file. We were not officially told the details, but in government offices, news travels fast even if nobody says anything directly. So the day after that upstairs meeting, Karen came in late, eyes a little puffy, makeup slightly off. She went straight past everyone, locked herself in her office and stayed there. Around mid-morning, HR came by, 2 people. They went inside her office and closed the door. After a while, the door opened, one HR person came out with some folders, the others stayed. People pretended not to look, but everyone was looking. From my desk, I had a clear view of her door. I saw her packing up her things, not angrily, more like in that shocked, stiff way of someone whose brain has not caught up to reality yet. HR walked beside her as she took one last look around the office. Maybe I'm a bad person, but I didn't feel sorry for her. I felt sorry for the months of wasted time, the applicants stuck in limbo, and the staff stressed out by her ego. Later that day, the city administrator called us into the conference area. He told us in official terms that Karen was no longer with the department, and that there would be an officer in charge for now while they found a replacement. He also said something that stuck with me. He said, "I've reviewed the data from the past months. It's clear that the old system, with some minor documentation improvements, was actually efficient. We will revert to that workflow for now." I expect everyone to do their jobs as you were doing it before and to continue documenting properly. If there are any problems, my door is open. As for Karen, she disappeared from our lives, no one knows where she went, maybe back to some corporate job where she can micromanage 2 people and make slides all day. If she ever applies to another government office, I'm pretty sure the city administrator's reference won't be glowing. And the next one is a fantastic malicious compliance story, which is titled, I really fixed the football jerseys. So a few days after I, female, graduated from high school 10+ years ago, I was helping my mom in her family and consumer science classroom. She was a teacher for 30+ years, and through my whole childhood she was the teacher that was in her classroom until late at night because she had so much stuff to do all the time. That day, the football coach appeared in her doorway to ask if she would fix the practice jerseys for the football team and bake him some cookies. Of course, she said yes to fixing the jerseys and laughed at the cookie request for the nth time and then passed the task to me. Mr. Coach was also the shop teacher, so I had taken his classes. This is back when sewing was for girls, so we were treated terribly by the guys, and the teacher let it happen even when we had to take the shop class. He would also ask me when my mom would make him cookies. And I mean all the time. I heard this request like 100+ times. He would say it when I was in class and my classmates would snicker. He would say this when he saw me in the hallway. It got so old. He thought he was being funny all the time, but I had just graduated and decided it was time for some payback. I had a big box of his football practice jerseys that were nothing but shredded chunks of mesh. I fixed them all. It took me more than a week. While I was at it, I sewed all the head holes shut, then I folded them nicely and staked them all in a box. I put the box on his desk and I asked my mom later if Mr. Coach said anything about fixing the jerseys. She said no. Years later I asked her if he had ever asked her to fix his practice jerseys again. Also no. I finally confessed to my mom what I did years later, and it was pretty obvious she had no idea. And the next one is a malicious compliance story, which is titled, Owner refused to let me do jury duty. This was back in the 80s, my first job working as a maintenance man at a local hotel. So essentially, I'd been working there part-time since I was 16, and when I turned 18, I got a notice to attend jury duty. I picked a week, let my boss know, and the owner of the hotel found out. He was always a completely unreasonable jerk to all the employees and sees me in the hallway and tells me that I need to do whatever it takes to get out of jury duty because he needs me at the hotel that week for a large dog show, clogged drains, etc. And if I'm not at work, I am fired. Well, when I get to jury duty, day 1, I get selected to a week-long trial, and the judge asks the jurors if there's any reason we cannot serve on duty. They go around, and when they get to me, I'm nervous. I've never been in court before, and I'm too scared to lie. I tell the judge that the owner of the business I work at will fire me if I'm not back today, and said that I needed to do everything I can to get out of jury duty or I'm fired. Other than that, I'm fine serving. And the judge looks genuinely pissed. The judge has me approach the bench, ask for the name of the owner, location, etc., and then he hands the court officer a paper and says something to the officer. The judge still looks pissed. I'm told to return to jury box. About an hour later, still selecting a jury, the officer returns with the owner, visibly shaken in handcuffs, and walk to the front of the judge's bench. The owner is standing in front of the judge. The judge asks him questions, which he apologetically tries to warm out of. Then the judge, looking more pissed, instructs him that I'll be here for jury duty and I will serve as long as I need to, and he should not do anything to retaliate against me. And that the judge is filing charges and will be instructing the clerk to check with me regularly, and if for any reason I'm fired or face any disciplinary action at work, he will hold the owner in contempt, violation of a court order, etc., aka a bunch of legal stuff, and he would spend time behind bars thinking about how important jury duty is. Then the judge makes him apologize to me in court. I made it onto the jury and I served the week. I reported back to work the following week. I expected some blowback, but I never got fired. None of my shifts were changed, and I got paid for my time in jury. I didn't ask why I got paid, and the clerk did check it back a few times, and I was told to call the judge's clerk direct phone number if anything happened. It was awesome, and I was pretty much bulletproof and worked until I saved enough to go back to school. And yeah guys, thank you for watching. I will see you again tomorrow.